This is Optimal Startup Daily, episode 189, an excerpt from the book Breaking Borders by Kate Eisler. And I'm your host and narrator. My name is Dan, and I'm here each and every day reading to you from some of the best blogs covering entrepreneurship and freelancing, and occasionally from a book like I'm doing today. We're going to read an excerpt from Kate Eisler's book, and I'm going to tell you more about Kate right after the reading. For now, let's get right to it as we start optimizing your life. An excerpt from the book Breaking Borders by Kate Eisler. Launching a startup while going to school took energy and time. But still, something was missing in my life. I missed being a part of the broader working world. To combat the feeling of isolation, I kept in touch with my global network online and social interactions when they visited corporate. One of those colleagues was Nikki Smith. Nikki had moved to Seattle from London with her 2 sons and stay-at-home husband just before I left Microsoft. She and I started meeting for drinks to discuss life challenges. Nikki was adjusting to a new country, schools, and building a network, all of which I had experienced and could relate to. My side of the discussion revolved around feeling lonely and ill-equipped to lead a startup. During one of those sessions in early January 2016, Nikki asked, "Why doesn't the U.S. celebrate International Women's Day?" It was a great question. I didn't have a good response. After 2 glasses of wine, we decided to host an IWD celebration. There were 6 weeks until March 8th, the official date of IWD. We were both energized by the idea. Learning about International Women's Day while living overseas was an awakening. Recognizing women's contributions beyond motherhood speaks to my soul. Motherhood is a large part of how I define myself, but doesn't represent all of me. I am a better mother because I make an economic contribution to society. I am politically aware. I champion women's access to healthcare and education. I see myself as equal to men. Nikki and I went to work recruiting a panel of women to cover the 4 core pillars of gender parity that the World Economic Forum measures and that the United Nations focuses on for International Women's Day. We leveraged the official UN theme, Be Bold for Change, to create invitations, secure event space, get a deep discount on wine from a local vineyard, and then we headed to Costco for snacks. 84 people showed up and stayed for over 2 hours of acknowledging women and building a community to accelerate gender parity. We were thrilled and patted ourselves on the back for a great job, and we moved on. The following September, we started to receive emails from the International Women's Day celebration attendees asking where the event was in 2017. The first event had made an impact. There was still so much work to be done on gender equity and so little awareness of IWD in Seattle. We agreed to host for a second year. This time, we enlisted the help of a notable local nonprofit to lend resources and event planning expertise. A friend offered a space for 150 people. We were off and running. We again assembled a panel along with a few individual speakers to share their stories of being bold and working to overcome gender inequality. Responses topped 350 people, and we scrambled to find a bigger venue a few weeks before the event. In the euphoria that followed our second IWD celebratory event, we formed our own nonprofit and agreed that the event would be bigger and better the following year. We put a deposit down on the Seattle Symphony Hall for March of 2018. The Be Bold nonprofit business license arrived in April 2017. In the last 3 years, the Be Bold IWD celebration has drawn sellout crowds of over 500 attendees. The next unplanned journey. People, men and women alike, have started to come forward to share their stories on the Be Bold Now platform about overcoming challenges and how they are working toward gender equality in all aspects of their lives. I wake up every day looking forward to hearing stories and connecting the community that has developed around the International Women's Day mission to recognize and celebrate women's contributions. I started writing about gender balance issues and speaking on podcasts, presenting to women's groups and to corporate audiences about being bold. I still needed to earn a living, so diligently, I followed up on leads, spent time networking, refreshing my resume, and interviewing to find a quote-unquote real job. I got a call from a headhunter who had seen my profile on LinkedIn and who was looking for a senior leader to partner with the CEO of a Seattle-based mid-sized technology company. It was a tailor-made job for me. I breezed through 2 phone interviews and was invited to meet the CEO within a few days. I was happy and relieved. I was finally going to get a real job and could slide back into the mainstream of life. I would fit in again. 10 minutes into the meeting with the CEO, it hit me. This is a great job. Nice guy. But I don't want to do this. I don't want to fit into a quote-unquote normal life. I have never been successful following the typical path. Every day, women tell me that they can't because they don't have the right education, the right connections, the right resources, or that they have responsibilities, a family, or have to consider their spouse's job or ego. My response is always, have you tried? I never imagined that my life would be the stories that fill these pages. I'm opportunistic and never believe all of the reasons why not. I take chances, ask questions, and continue to pursue a career that offers an interesting life. I started writing this book at the suggestion of a friend 8 months ago. I never planned on writing a book, but it came quickly and has been cathartic. Putting my story on paper and gathering the nerve to share it has made me realize that I have always been happier and more successful when I am open to opportunities rather than planning my path. My passion is to support women and to build a community of women and men that will fight for gender equality. This community I envision is one that brings a cultural change in how women are valued in business structures and within society as a whole. A community where women lift one another instead of competing with each other. A community where women can relate, celebrate, and champion each other's success. A society that isn't afraid to ask each other for help. The community I wish I had at my lowest points. Be Bold Now is that community. Life is a series of twists and turns. My success has come through being open to the possibilities and seeking out situations and people that fill my soul. I have once again reinvented myself. This version of me includes being an author, a motivator, and a community builder. I hope that this story provides examples of what is possible. I want women to relate to the feelings I have shared, but more than anything, I want you, the reader, to feel inspired and empowered to explore your own path, even when it changes course or is different than they thought it was going to be. I want you to join the community that believes in and is working toward gender equity. I want you to be bold. You just listened to an excerpt from the book Breaking Borders by Kate Eisler. And I'm going to tell you about Kate in just a sec, but first, a big thank you to Oracle for their support. We all want to know we have enough to get where we want to go. For instance, you either have enough energy to run a marathon, or you're on the side of the road wheezing. How about your startup? Does it have enough cloud computing power to win and handle the really big customers? You might think stable, enterprise-ready cloud infrastructure, like Oracle's, is out of reach for your new company. But Oracle for Startups was made just for you. Oracle wants to help you land those big customers, so they're offering preferred pricing on enterprise cloud for startups, free cloud credits, and 70% off their cloud services. And with the power of enterprise cloud on your side, you can trust that what you've built will not break as you scale. Oracle for Startups doesn't want you wheezing on the side of the road. They want you to have enough power to scale and land your dream customer. Visit oracle.com/go-to/OSD. That's oracle.com/go-to/OSD, and I have that linked in this episode's description. And thank you to Kate Eisler. She is an activist, wife, author, mother, and more. Born in Southeast Texas, raised in the Southwest, and educated in the Northwest, she said yes to adventure and career from the start. As a tech executive, Kate's work took her all over the world with her husband as they raised 3 sons. She started her career with Microsoft in Washington, and as a woman in tech in the early 1990s, Kate faced and overcame barriers in her work and in the many countries where she lived with humor and resilience. She was a trailblazer in her industry, and in her personal life too, as she stepped into the role as primary breadwinner with the support of her husband, Doug. Then, after 20 years with Microsoft, Kate took her passion for business into the startup world. A shift into a nonprofit startup dedicated to celebrating International Women's Day, as you heard in the post, was the catalyst to Kate's most recent adventure, launching an e-commerce platform for women-owned businesses, the TheWMarketplace. Kate's passion for gender parity has led her to a seat on the global board of Girl Rising, and she is a committed mentor for the International Women's Forum. She is doing really great work, so come by kateeisler.com for a lot more. That's KATEISLER, and I have her book linked in this episode's description as well. And that's going to do it for today. I thank you so much for listening and for being a subscriber of the show. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you back here tomorrow, where your optimal life awaits.